9:20 this morning, we started receiving the initial calls, many calls of a hotel on fire. Crews arrived about 5 minutes later at 9:25. They did have one room that was fully involved on the second floor of a three-story motel. About 5 minutes later, we did go to a second alarm just for evacuation needs. We also had a report that somebody needed assistance in one of the apartments that turned out not to be true. Everybody was evacuated by either ourselves or the police. At this time, there are no injuries. Most of the second alarm units have been released after the fire was quickly knocked down and held to that one room that was involved upon our arrival. So right now, what we're doing, the investigators are talking to the occupant. Austin EMS is evaluating that occupant for the potential for smoke inhalation, but it appears to be very minor at this time. So they're going to take a look at him. Investigators are going to talk to him, and so right now, fire cause is under investigation, and we're wrapping up with the overhaul. And the hotel management looks like they're going to be able to just place everybody in other parts of the complex that are affected by the fire.
Do you know how many are affected as far as the building?
Right now, we've got our community service group working on getting a total number of how many are affected. There'll probably be 4 or 5 apartments just right around the fire area that'll have to move out. I'm not sure if all of them were actually occupied or not, but just because of fire control damage and the fire damage to the one apartment, those folks will have to relocate to other parts of the complex.
That was my question. What is the extent of the damage?
So one room was fully involved on arrival. It's completely destroyed. And then there's water damage below that, and then fire control damage above and below that. So probably about 5 or 6 that are directly affected just with fire control damage. The one apartment that's burned. And then there were a lot of doors that were forced open that'll have to be repaired in other parts to make sure everybody was evacuated.
What unit was in flame?
Middle of the second floor. It was room 242 in the middle on the second floor that was on fire.
Too early to tell about this motel. This motel was needing code enforcement.
So right now we're not sure. We do know that it looks like there were some repairs underway. There's a lot of the ceilings in the breezeways that are missing, and we don't know if that's just normal repairs. We have called the code department to just come take a look at it with us to make sure. So we'll take a look at that, but see if that was normal repairs or the state of the building. We'll have code get to the bottom of that.
How long did it take to put out the fire?
About 10-15 minutes. It was once the first unit got here and got up there, it was knocked down and under control very quickly, and then probably about 10 or 15 minutes for final extinguishment. They're just doing a lot of overhaul now because it got out into the breezeway a little bit, and that's what they're working on now behind us.
How does a fire department respond to this type of fire, to place this size?
Well, that's one of the reasons we went to a second alarm early on, just because of the sheer number of folks that you might have to evacuate, the potential for the fire to spread to other parts of the building. That's why we went to a second alarm fairly early in these types of situations, so we have enough manpower on scene to handle that.
Because it was one unit, it's still too early to tell what may have caused it?
Correct. It's completely burned out, but our investigators are on scene. They're going to take a look. As soon as it's safe for them to get in and take a look, they'll take a look at it, and they're also interviewing the subject that resided in that room.
What message do you have for the public at this time?
Well, at this point, until we have a cause determination, there's really not one for this particular instance right now. And until we find a cause, then we might have a public service message related to the cause once we find it. But too early right now for that.
So much, officer.
Okay.